Hi, good morning, everybody. Maylee Wong here, Administrative Services Manager for the department. Also taking notes on FIRE's org chart. That was a great example. So we look forward to getting an updated org chart in front of you that has a little bigger formatting that's easier to see and calm around the eyes. But quickly, as Chief mentioned, our org chart has gone through many iterations, and believe it or not, we have created 2 more org charts since this one that you are looking at was submitted for publication. Overall, what this org chart in front of you represents is our current FTE and our wish list of additional staffing that we believe is necessary to provide adequate infrastructure for the department. However, we also understand the budget deficit that's ahead, so we are managing expectations, and that is why we've gone back to the drawing board to create 2 different org charts. On the far left-hand side, as Chief mentioned, is the Administrative Bureau, which is responsible for overall management of administrative and fiscal support for the department. This includes oversight of human resources, contracts, budget, audits, grants monitoring, and accounting. To the left-hand side, you will see the Community Relations and Direct Practice Bureau. This bureau engages the community in violence prevention efforts, responds to shootings and homicides, oversees implementation of direct building for grantees. And to the far right-hand side, you'll see the Policy and Planning Bureau, which uses research and best practices to inform the design and implementation of violence prevention strategies, partners with grantees to manage contracts, and provides technical assistance for program implementation, oversees evaluations, and secures additional funding outside of the city. And that is our org chart. Let's go to the next slide, moving into budget, please. So for fiscal year 22-23, our budget's a little over $3 million. It's made up of mixed funding from Measure Z, which is a voter-approved tax initiative, general purpose funds, state, federal, and philanthropic grants. You'll see that 35% of our budget is generated from Measure Z, and that helps us to fund 15.5 FTEs. 42% is allocated from the general purpose funds and supports 18 FTEs. 23% is generated from grants and supports 15.5 FTEs for a total team of 49 staff. Go to the next slide, please. Of our overall budget, 76% of funding invests in violence prevention services, 22% invests in personnel, 1% is our operating budget, and 1% is for participant stipends. Since we have a direct service team in-house, they also have a budget to provide stipends to folks they're working with. Next slide, please. Here's a snapshot of our spending plan package, which is an investment of $19.35 million to community-based organizations that provide program implementation regarding gun violence, gang violence, group and gang violence for about $10.5 million. Gender-based violence, we're investing about $4.4 million. And community healing and restoration activities, $4.45 million. Next slide, please. Here's just a quick snapshot of our sub-strategies within those 3 core strategies. Next slide, please. And then here's a list of our 32 funded agencies. It's important to note that while we fund 32 agencies directly, we have about 64 contracts because many of these organizations are also fiscal sponsors for smaller organizations that aren't able to contract with the city directly. All right, and now I'm going to hand it over to my colleagues Cointrlpro and Jennifer Argueta.
Thank you, Maylee. Again, my name is Jennifer Argueta. I'm a program analyst with the Department of Violence Prevention. This past year, between the winter of 2020 and 2022, we were able to pilot Town Nights. Town Nights is a community-driven, multi-generational violence prevention and intervention strategy that involves the 4 components: outreach to the community members, employment opportunities for residents, recreational activities, and food available at the events. Violence interruption, dialogues facilitated by violence interrupters and community engagement teams that are intended to reduce future violence. Again, we were able to pilot it in 9 sites across the city of Oakland. We were able to test it out in the winter, which we had a total of 8 sites, and we were able to get up to 4,000 Oakland residents to attend and support the events. In the summer of 2022, this past summer, we were able to expand it to 9 sites, and we again were able to host it for 4 consecutive nights, each Friday between the hours of 6 o'clock and 10 p.m. And as the weeks progress, the number of participants attending, community residents attending the events increased when we had a total of 12,000 community members join us at these events. During the entire 4-week period of the summer of 2022, Town Nights operated beginning on June 17th and it ended in July 15th. 82 assaults with a firearm or homicides took place in Town Nights police beats or adjacent to police beats, compared to 131 during comparison days in 2021. This is a 37% reduction. And my colleague, Cointrlpro, will speak on the Triangle incident response.
Thank you, Jennifer. So the Triangle incident response is a 24-hour real-time coordinated response that aims to reduce retaliatory violence from groups, gangs, violent incidents related to assessing and reducing the levels of trauma impacted by families, impacted by community members, and overall to improve the relationship between community and police. The Triangle Incident staff is staffed by professionals with different orientations and responsibilities to include, first of all, our CBO partners, violence interrupters, our DVP internal personnel staff, which are community crime scene responders and advocates. These are experts with intervention services that allow us to operate from intervention principles. Law enforcement knowledge and of the geographic areas, which includes the areas in which the Triangle is implemented. In addition to that, what is not on this sheet is the presence of gender-based violence specialists who are also responding at the scenes of incidents to make sure that participants are either referred through ceasefire and/or from some source of committed violence, moving all the way through external conflicts.
Ongoing Town Nights events, both during the summer of 2023 and summer of 2024, at least at 9 locations across the city. For community engagement team members, that was the work that Cointrlpro just was. It has allowed us to hire 1 individual who responds to shootings and homicides with a gender-based violence lens, and another individual who responds to provide support to families who are impacted by shootings and homicides. And then lastly, we have our Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation Golden State Works Grant, which is a 3-year grant bringing $11.8 million into the city. It's allowing us to hire 1.5 administrative positions, and it also allows us to contract with a sub-grantee, which is Center for Employment Opportunities, to partner with Caltrans and provide employment to individuals who are returning to Oakland on parole. Thank you, and then I will turn it back to Chief Cespedes to discuss our challenges and opportunities.
Can we go to the next slide, please? Obviously, the challenges and opportunities for the department, the central thing is to develop increased capacity to meet the broad range of mandates. The Department of Violence Prevention is essentially, it's a little bit over 3 years old. In some ways, I believe it has been overachieving. So the capacity has really not yet reached the level that is necessary for this high-level operation. secure ongoing funding. It's another challenge that not just obviously the entire city is facing, but funding issues with the Department of Violence Prevention. For it to become stabilized, we